Was I wrong? This is an event that happened very recently. I was working at the post office and was almost done casing up my route when my ex-boss, who lives on my route, came into the post office to pick up her 2 packages that had just arrived this morning. Some necessary information before I continue. I wasn't aware this ex-boss lived on my route until after I agreed to take the job. When I realized she lived on my route, I honestly didn't give a shit. She was just another customer on my route, and I haven't spoken to her face-to-face since before I quit my old retail job. She wasn't there the day I quit, and I believe she was on her 3rd vacation of the year. I was almost ready to leave the office when a clerk approached me and told me one of my customers was at the counter telling everyone that I used to work for her. She fired me, and I'm now using my job as her mail carrier to open her mail and get information on her. She was so loud in telling her traumatic experience of how she could have had her identity stolen by the dishonest mail carrier that her voice echoed all the way back into the mailroom. Why did she think I was opening her mail? The sorting machine had torn the corner of one of her letters just a tiny bit. Now, thanks to her actions, I will no longer be her mail carrier. I'm going to be moved to a route that pays significantly more. Thank you, Karen. End note. When this first happened, I posted to my old job subreddit an open letter to Karen. But now that I for sure know I'm getting a better route, I'm posting here. TLDR. Karen accused me of tampering with her mail, and as a result, I will be getting paid more. Was I wrong yesterday? I purchased a SIM card kit for Straight Talk because I wanted to add a new line to my account. I already had an unlocked phone to use, and I planned to put the SIM card into that one. Well, while going through the activation process, I kept getting messages saying that coverage wasn't available in my area. But that couldn't be right since I have 2 lines active and working in the area I was trying to start a new line in. I eventually gave up for the night and decided to contact customer support when they opened. First, I tried the text chat in the Straight Talk app. The representative told me I couldn't use that phone because the IMEI was already associated with my account. True, because it's an old phone and I used it before on my account. But when I got a new phone, I would take the SIM card out and put it in the new phone. No issue. I even did so when a family member wanted my old phone. They activated a new SIM in it and then eventually got a new one and put the SIM into their new phone. But I was now trying to do so again for another family member and no luck. The customer service rep tells me I can't switch existing SIM cards to new phones, and I can't put a new SIM card into a phone that was already used on my account. I would have to buy new SIM cards for all the phones active on my account. But that didn't sound right. If I can't put a new SIM card into a phone previously used on my account, wouldn't I just run into the same issue with all of them? So I decided to call them and see if I got the same issue, but I kept talking in circles with this rep. Me. I'm trying to activate a new line on my account. Rep. There isn't a new line showing on your account. Me. That's why I'm calling. I need to activate the new line. Rep. Are you wanting to transfer your number to a new phone? Me. No. I want to keep my number active. I want to set up a new line on my family account. Rep. There isn't a new line on your account. Me. Because it's not activated yet. After talking in circles, I eventually asked to speak to a supervisor, and they refused to transfer me to one. After more talking in circles, I eventually hang up. Once I take a few breaths, I try one more time. This third rep is a bit more helpful, but still refuses to transfer me to a supervisor. Eventually, they tell me they can't help me because their SIM cards aren't compatible with my phone I've used with their service before. I still am not allowed to talk to a supervisor. I'm just told to buy a new phone. Probably one of their prepaid ones that can't even come close to matching the specs, performance, or storage space that the phone I'm trying to use has. All in all, it was just frustrating and nothing more. I'm not put out a lot of money and I can at least make use of the included time card if nothing else. So, Reddit, tell me how big of a Karen I was. So, Sunday being Christmas Eve, my store was closing at 5:30 p.m. This has been posted everywhere for weeks. All the stores in our chain are closing at 5:30. It's now 5:30 p.m. and I have a Karen in my lane. She's in full rant mode. I can't believe you are closing at 5:30. You're discriminating against healthcare workers. I know it's not your fault, but what are we healthcare workers supposed to do? Me. Plan ahead? It's not my fault you couldn't make up your mind about dinner before now. She literally wasn't buying anything that special. It was a choice between 2 dinners and a single-serve pecan pie. She could have shopped for her dinner any day before now. We're open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, aside from a few days a year. Then she goes on, I'm going to write a letter to the union. I'm going to write a letter to corporate. I'm going to talk to the CEO the next time I'm shopping at the Frontenac store. Me. Get out of here, lady. I don't feel good and I have places to be tonight. I'm polite to her and have my bagger run back the one dinner she decided against. I finally get her out of my lane, but I made note to remember her name. So next time comes in, I can warn my co-workers. I know she came in with a chip on her shoulder and started talking smack to my assistant store manager because he informed her that we were closing when she walked in. I just got to witness a Karen die inside in real time, and it was glorious. I work in a big chain supermarket and had to jump into deli and help serve, because they were getting smashed. I've only served deli a few times and was still relatively new to entering items into the scales that printed tickets. A lady asked for a kilo of wings and 40 of our chicken skewers. I ring the skewers up, $2.80, print the ticket, and go to wrap. Excuse me. Full Karen mode. The ticket says $2.50 each. That says $2.80. This means I get it for free, right? I go look at the ticket. It's $2.80. So I say, sorry, no, it's definitely $2.80. But I notice I'd screwed up. Items charged by each need a quantity too. Otherwise, the system thinks you just have one. I smile a sickly, sweet smile. No, it's definitely $2.80. But good thing you pointed that out. I accidentally only charged you for only one instead of 40. Let me just ring that up again. The look on her face was priceless as the new total appeared on the screen. In trying to save 30C, she fucked herself out of over $100. Fuck you, Karen. Was I wrong? Okay, so I ride a decommissioned 1988 KZ 1000P. It's a motorcycle model that was never sold to the general public, only to police departments. The only way anybody can get one now is to buy one that's been decommissioned and sold at government auction. If you've ever seen Terminator 2, it's the model of BK that the T-1000 rammed out of a window and into a helicopter to take over the helicopter. I've removed all of the police equipment and markings, replacing the colored strobes with non-strobing white lights, and I replaced the police stars with the Ghostbusters logo. I also wasn't wearing anything that looks like a police uniform. Now, thing is, I was picking up some lunch at a drive-through window that I'd ordered online. This boomer Karen behind me, probably was an adult when my bike was manufactured, saw that I skipped past the payment window, and when I got to the food pickup window, she saw that I was given a bag of food. Thinking I hadn't paid and was taking her food, she got out of line, blocked me from leaving by wedging her car in front of me, got out, and started screaming, "What is your badge number?" I asked her, "What?" "You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to report this to your supervisor and you won't be an officer anymore. What is your badge number?" "Ma'am, do I look like a cop to you?" "Yes. I don't care if you're just off duty. That's clearly your take-home patrol vehicle." "Ma'am, this thing hasn't been with any police department since before I was born." "So you're impersonating an officer to steal food in a drive-thru?" She stormed at me and tried to remove my food from my saddlebag herself. That's when the manager had come with her food in his hand, and she started yelling at him about how I was trying to scam by not paying at the first window and taking the food of the person behind me. It sounded like she's had that happen before, and it's a fair assumption to make if it wasn't for the fact that my food was just a single sandwich, and the manager had like 3 huge bags of food in his arms for her and presumably her family. She begrudgingly calmed down when the manager handed her her food, and I ended up going around her SUV. You'd think the incident would stop there, but she followed me out of the parking lot and through traffic, keeping as close to me as she could. Like what? You think you won't be found at fault if you rear-end me? Anyway, I managed to lose her by doing a U-turn that was entirely too tight for her SUV to follow. I just finished eating before typing this up. My food was cold because of her. And right now I'm kind of laughing about what might have happened had I actually been an officer and she tried that to me. Karens aren't very bright when they're hangry. Well, they're not bright to begin with, but being hangry certainly can't help. From now on, I'm not skipping the payment window. I'm just going to stop there and take my receipt so any Karen behind me will see something exchange hands.